All right, I will call the August Board of Education meeting to order. Roll call.
Leo Thomascar.
Yep.
Carrie Hildebrandt. Here. Dana Duncan.
Here.
John Dobbin.
Here.
Kathy McGrath.
Here.
All right. President's report, all members are in attendance. And our next board meeting is September 11th, 2024. So moving on to administrative reports, elementary principal report. Principal Vina.
Good evening, everyone. On August 12th, elementary classroom teachers in grades 1 through 5, elementary special ed teachers, interventionists, and myself participated in a 3-hour Keys to Beginning Reading training led by Mrs. Donica Goodwin of CESA 5. Keys is a 40-hour professional training designed for educators to learn about the science of reading from the very basic roots of reading, how reading is taught. Our faculty will have their Keys training fully completed by March 10th of 2025, and this will be in compliance with Act 20. The Port Edwards Parent Organization held its beginning of the year scheduling meeting on that same night, Monday evening, August 12th. The people president once again this year is Mrs. Sarah Schrader, and the organization has planned 8 family events for the upcoming school year here at Ed Hoyer Elementary. In addition to our family events, we are planning a Peepo night at the El Cafe, where a portion of the proceeds will go to benefit our elementary PTO. The date of that event is still being planned. So working with Fidel at the cafe for a Peepo night.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. The following day, on Tuesday, August 13th, all of the 4K wraparound childcare furniture and implements were delivered to the elementary from the YMCA. The state certification process took place, and we are a certified daycare now. As of this week, the daycare has 7 children signed up to begin in September, with 2 more children scheduled to join in October, which puts us at 9, of course. So,
And
Mrs.
7 was the magic number.
7 was our threshold we were
Okay.
shooting for.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
financially.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're at 7. She's still optimistic. She still thinks we will have more families coming in.
And is she gonna have a table at the back to school night?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yep, we'll have a table at back to school night for the childcare as well.
perfect.
Absolutely. In addition to our childcare, Mrs. Moldenhauer, our new 4K teacher, has been working day and night here. I've seen her here a lot. She is really investing a lot of time into her classroom. It's on the north end of the first grade area. We've put both of our first grade teachers in the first grade on the south end. Our 4K classroom is on the north end. She's created a very thorough handbook for the parents of our 4K students. It explains all the details of the 4K schedule now that they are part of our school district, no longer part of the YMCA. So some different pickup times, some different drop-off points, food, snacks, that type of thing. So all that information is going out to our families as well.
Where are we at with 4K enrollment?
We are around 20 students today.
Okay.
Approximately 20.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Will they come in that other door down there, or will they still come in the front door?
4K will be coming, the 4K students will be coming in the front door,
Okay.
and our childcare will be coming in the gate out by the
Okay.
Port Pride sign. The custodian side put up the sign in the window today
Okay,
for it says
Right.
Southwood County
Yeah.
Wraparound Childcare Entrance.
Okay.
You'll see that in the window down there. Yeah. Moving on, the Welcome Back to School theme for the first day of school here at Ed Hoyer Elementary is the Olympics. Of course, keeping in theme with our Paris Olympics. Staff will be using the recent Paris Games for educational and motivational activities throughout that first week. Teachers and staff will be welcoming our students back to school Tuesday morning, September 3rd, 13 days from today. Our students are back already. And finally, a positive update. Ed Hoyer Elementary will be bringing back the Young Author programs for the upcoming school year. It was a very popular program that went away a few years ago. I met with our elementary leadership team about a week ago. We had a working lunch together, and we planned some of the details for the Young Author program. It will begin trimester 2 in November, and a schedule with more details will be presented as those details are created.
I
So,
am so pleased that that's coming back.
yeah,
There's nothing like it, and to get them getting up in front of a group at a young age and, you know, the kindergartners would stand up there, Lisa remembers,
Oh, yeah.
and read their whole story, which was of course pictures, and then they would get stuck and like, you were supposed to help them. Oh, is that a red apple?
I remember well, it's very cute.
But it's so cute and
Yeah.
it's so wonderful. And I think it helps them when they get to
It does.
junior high and high
Yep.
school because they've done this all through elementary. And it's a wonderful outreach for the parents and the
Yes.
grandparents and whoever else comes, because it's not always just even parents. They
Right.
bring friends and whatever.
We're very excited to bring it back,
I'm
absolutely.
pleased.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, middle high school principal report. Shane?
First one here.
Yay.
Welcome, Shane.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah. Couple things I want to talk about. My job started July 1st. We've been at it almost every single day trying to get things and understand how things are going and policies, procedures, things like that. And then the pop-ins, right, of everybody coming in. So we've had a good time. I've gotten to know Callie Kalinsky very, very well in the office. Her and I are figuring each other out. So we're in a good spot there. A couple things that I wanted to talk about. At the end of the year, we talked to staff. Mrs. Schroeder talked to staff. Staff kind of talked about what they wanted to see in the upcoming year regarding cell phones. So we did make a change to our cell phone policy. Our middle school kids will, we bought phone homes. They're little wooden crates that we thought would come together, and they came not together. So Callie and I have gotten to know each other by putting, I think we're at 20 of 28, to put them together. Who's faster, who's better, that kind of thing. So she'll argue with, yeah, and she's better at it, she says. So, but we're putting together middle school 6 through 8. These kids are going to walk in. They can't leave them in their lockers anymore. They're going to walk in. They're going to put them in that case. It's going to get locked, and it's not available to them until after Blackhawk, which is at the end of the day. There's no exceptions. Our bathrooms visits were getting out of control last year. Kids were going to their lockers. On the way to the bathroom, on the way back, they were Snapchatting and things like that. And it was, I think our bathroom breaks are gonna come back to a normal level this year, which includes and is better for academic time, correct? Our high school policy changes a little bit. We're gonna have them put them away in those classrooms as they enter. They won't have them for the duration of the class period, and then at the very end of class, high school teachers are gonna give them to them, much like adults. Do your check-in, check your snaps, see if there's something from coaches or your employer, and then you go to your next class and they put them back away. But they will have them during lunch also. So we're gonna give them that leeway as older kids in the district and see if they can handle it. So I think these two things are huge. Another thing staff wanted to see was our Blackhawk policy. Since COVID, what was happening is all of our kids that had privileges were leaving the building at the end of our day. And realistically, we didn't have great role models left in our building for kids to see, hey, this is how you study, this is how you do this. So what we did is we are gonna expect everybody to be back for Blackhawk Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday and Friday, if they have privileges, that'll be their choice on whether they wanna come back. But during those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're gonna start running some clubs. Chess Club wants to get started back up. We talked with people over Officer Drew, Officer Abbott, Josh Mansell. We talked to them about getting a protective services club. They actually met last night, and they're gonna come in 2 Wednesdays a month for kids that are interested in that, in order to get them involved, like in the fire extinguisher training that we do with our elementary kids and our middle school kids. So that's another club that's gonna happen. We want to get kids doing things and making Blackhawk usable again for the kids that need it educationally wise, homework wise, studying wise, but we also, those kids that don't, we want to have them doing something that they enjoy and make it useful. So that's our goal with that. Just a couple things with lockers. We sent 6 through 8 8th grade parents an opt-out letter in Google through Infinite Campus, and basically our middle school kids weren't using their locks. They were lost. It takes tons of manpower to assign them lockers and combinations. Out of 6 through 8, we had 10 people want locks for their kids in 6th through 8th grade, that's it. So without phones being in their lockers, people, it changes their thinking a little bit. And high school lockers be the same thing, and fully expect these high school lockers to stay locked and shut at the high school level. Previous years, they just weren't. A lot of time they had them, they were being left open. And if you can't do a simple task like close your locker in the morning, how are you gonna do the hard things that we expect later on in the day, right? So it's the simple things. I also made a change to our behavior, kind of our mantra for years we've dealt with and talked about the 5 R's. To me, they've kind of, the things haven't become obsolete, but kids don't know them. They just don't know them. So we're gonna move to something, I had some of the signage taken down, we're putting up something new, and we're gonna call it our GRIT program. And GRIT is something that the kids don't have anymore. They're lacking, they need training in that, right? And one of the big things that we're gonna focus on is the G of it, that you get to over you got to. The first day of school, we're taking 6-12 kids, we're gonna put them in the gym. We're gonna take all of our staff, put them in the hallway. Ethan Jensen, our business teacher, who does a lot of our announcing for basketball, volleyball games and things like that, he's gonna announce our staff. Not only teaching staff, but the kitchen staff, the custodians. You guys are certainly invited, 8:30 that first day. We would love to have you. We're gonna line up our staff and I wanna talk to the kids about the GRIT program and how they get to come to school and have wonderful adults in a small town, small school atmosphere. You don't gotta come here, and if you look at it that way, that's your attitude the rest of the way, right? You get to have some wonderful teachers, and you get to come to a beautiful school. So that's the G of it. The rest of the letters, we're gonna talk about middle school and high school. Leo, you'll remember the old Gotcha program. That they ran at the middle school in Nakusa. So I created GRIT coupons and Callie made them up. And I want to reward the kids for doing things like walking out of a classroom and pushing a chair on their way out. Just the simple things, bringing a kickball back to the outside people out there versus walking past it and expecting someone else to do it. So the last Friday of every month during Blackhawk, I'm gonna take all the 6-8 kids down to the small gym. We're gonna talk about this GRIT program and how important the letters are in their lives and getting older. And then we're gonna do a couple of brief drawings, maybe a $5 gift certificate to Quick Trip or something like that. And at the high school level, it's gonna look the same, but it's gonna be the last Thursday of each month. And we kind of have, we're not doing coupons with that. But we're gonna do a little different method. And then that was where Callie and I got to know each other pretty well, because I told her I wanted 3 boxes in the office. She said, what kind? And I said, well, get a paper box and just wrap it in wrapping paper, put a 6, a 7, and an 8 on it. And she looked at me, she goes, So we have these beautiful boxes now. They're stencils, stick-on stencils. So this is where the kids are gonna put their coupons that they get them as they receive those. So that's our GRIT program. If you come that first morning, I think it's a big thing to show everybody 6-12 that all these adults in the building, no matter their role, are the adults in your life and you're lucky to have them, but also to come together as a 6-12 group of kids. We don't do that a whole lot. So that's coming up. The last month, I've had meet and greets with people. I know the staff in the building, but I don't really know the staff in the building, if that makes sense. I know what they teach. I don't know them personally. So I've been asking staff on their floating days to come in, and we've had 15, 20, 30-minute conversations about who they are. I had one today with a gentleman that was on the interview committee, and we got all done with my spiel and talking about cell phones and everything, and he pulled out his laptop and he said, hey, I got to know you in the interview process with your slideshow. Here's mine. And he showed me his family, all that stuff. So those are the important things, focusing on the culture in the building. And I think we're off to a great start. Our athletic programs are rolling already. If you drive by the field today, Skis donated some brats to the football team, and they're grilling out today. Our manager, Braden, is grilling the brats out, and he's gonna reward them afterwards. So they're doing that. Volleyball's in the gym right now, working hard with our new coaches. Cross country's been running every morning. So our fall sports are kicking off and ready to go, and it's nice to have the kids back in the building and see those faces. Our middle school volleyball programs, 7th and 8th grade started this week also, and Mr. Burno, with his Woods class last spring, built a ticket booth for our football field. So that has been placed out there. Our custodial staff made it look really nice out there with some shrubs around there, some rock, but we wanted a classy place, and I went to Steve last year as athletic director and I said, hey, what can we do? And he said, here's what we're gonna do. So they built that. Steve was out putting in windows and door, 2 windows and a door today, and then we're looking at having the siding taking place before our first football game. So a lot going on, but thank you.
I'm glad to see the cell phone thing. I think that's really
Yes, yes,
important.
yes, yes, yes,
And
yes, yes.
when I
yes.
read about the new, they don't need it with them all the time. And I think this, if we do it at school, maybe it's gonna help with at home too. I don't, parents probably don't have that much clout with keeping it. But I think that is really an awesome thing. And
And that was staff directed at the end of last year, so.
I think it would be easier for substitute teachers coming in.
Yes,
Because truthfully, when I subbed for 6 years, that was the only time ever in my life that I called the principal, was over a cell phone issue. When they just said, no, I'm not putting it away. And I'm like, oh my goodness, okay.
And I'm not naive to think it'll be perfect, but it's
Yeah,
a step
and
in the
it's probably
right
gonna
direction.
take a little bit of time for them to get in the routine, but I think it's a good thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
I
Shane.
saw the article in the school board journal last spring about the amount of screen time that kids have. Every learning strategist, every health educator, every mental health person, pick whatever category
Profession.
you want.
Yeah.
Kids, especially middle school kids, have profound detrimental impact from too much screen time. Adults have detrimental problem from too much screen time, but where they figure this out and where they get away with it is when they're in elementary and middle school. And if this gives them at least a meaningful option to see that life will go on and they will not change color or grow an extra leg if they haven't checked their screen in every 12 minutes, good for you. Great. Amen.
Very good,
Sounds like you're off to a good start.
absolutely.
Thank you. Moving on,
Backlash.
district administrator report.
Good evening again. If anyone has been following the Wisconsin education news that I share with our board members electronically every day, I am very surprised and very happy to see that many school districts are starting to ban cell phones. Large school districts, small school districts around the state, and as you pointed out, Leo, the data is getting to be more and more profound about the detriment to our youth with cell phones. So everything's going to get better, I think. Again, it's not going to be the end-all be-all, but behaviorally, academically, it can only get better. So thank you for leading that, Shane. As Shane was speaking, I wrote down 4 adjectives and things that I've seen over Shane's first nearly 3 months and things that we heard tonight in his report. Number 1 is being responsive. You heard how responsive Shane is to his staff members. I was so impressed when he told me that he's been having interviews, and they're not interviews, that's too formal of a word. He's having conversations with his staff members, getting to know them, understanding what they need, making them feel very valued here. So he's extremely engaged with our staff and extremely responsive to them, and then engaged as well. He's very engaged with the processes, engaged with our school district. That kind of goes without saying. Hardworking. Shane has been extremely hardworking here. We've moved some tables and chairs around. We've done some things to, try to help the custodians out. And I've never heard Shane say the word no. I'll say, Shane, let's go do this, or Shane, do you want to do that? And a lot of times he is leading the charge on it. So he's been extremely hardworking. And what kind of encompasses all this, I think, is character. I think Shane is gonna build a lot of character in our building. Integrity, honesty, just he's with that grit program, I'm seeing that. So you're off to a great start, Shane, and we're very excited for the school year.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So did I make you blush?
A little bit.
A little bit.
We have the best staff, and it starts at the top. And when kids see what the staff is happy to be here and they have their best interest at heart, it all makes a difference. And that's why we're a great school district.
Kids want order, they want consistency, they want
And they
regular-
want discipline.
They want discipline, they want regular schedules.
Yeah.
They'll squawk, they'll whine,
Yeah.
they'll spin around and fling themselves on the ground. But deep in their gut, the worst times come when the system breaks down. When something terribly goes cockeyed and the routine gets disrupted, that's when especially middle school kids go sideways. It's just, yeah. Good, it's all great.
Okay, a few other things I would like to share at the district level, taking place in August here. New teacher in service took place yesterday and today. We had presentations or meetings being led by Mrs. Miller, our business director, Mr. Steltenpole, our special education director, technology staff, and our veteran teaching mentors all spent significant time with our 6 new teachers. The 6 new teachers this year are 2 teachers in special education, our 4K teacher, a 3rd grade teacher, our 4th and 5th grade ELA teacher, and a new teacher in Phi Ed. And we'll be introducing them next Tuesday morning during in-service. And those in-service meetings are next Tuesday through Thursday, August 27th through the 29th. I would like to graciously invite our Board of Ed members next Tuesday morning, if you're able to arrive, about 8 o'clock. We'll have approximately 80 staff members sitting where we are right now. The floor will be yours. I will wish everyone a good morning, and then any board members who would like to speak or welcome everyone back next Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. We are having district lunch that day. You're welcome to attend for lunch as well at 11 o'clock. That is being catered. We would like to shop locally, being catered by El Cafe on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Going back several weeks, on Tuesday, July 16th, Mr. Steltenpole and I attended a Wisconsin Department of Justice school safety training program in West Salem. I attended a DOJ school safety training about 5 years ago in Marathon, and since that time the DOJ has changed leadership. We've had some changes in state leadership as well, and I saw a different approach to school safety. School safety, as it was taught about 5 years ago, was more of a reactive practice, and that's important to still teach how to react to our children and to our teachers. The programming that we went to on July 16th was more proactive. It took a deep dive into identifying students who may be showing warning signs, red flags, that they may be violent people or may have violent tendencies. They're not necessarily violent people, but may have those violent tendencies. And identifying them and working with them to ensure that our schools are safe. So it's a very interesting and worthwhile program on July 16th. On Tuesday, August 6th, a number of our district paraprofessionals attended a one-day parapro training in Wisconsin Dells, hosted by CISA 5. Our paraprofessionals learned best practices in helping to create positive classroom environments, helping students who are dealing with grief, different ways to communicate with a diverse student population, and self-care. As of today, the enrollment at Ed Hoyer Elementary is a net of +8 over the last day of school. So we have got approximately 16 new students in, have had 8 transfer out for a net gain of +8 as of today. And of course, there may be a little bit of fluctuation in that number before September 3rd. Tomorrow, finally, on August 22nd, CISA 5, sorry.
Excuse me, was that that 8 figure just the elementary, or is that the district?
Elementary,
That's just
Yep.
elementary.
grades 1 through
I'm
5.
sorry, thank you.
Yes. We're also positive at the high school as well. I don't have that number though.
No, and I know she's still, Ernestine is still waiting on records request and things from other districts, so that number
Okay.
isn't quite, but we are positive.
Well,
Positive, both
Ballpark guess, 3, 4, 5?
single digits. I don't,
Okay,
yeah,
In
Right.
comparison to last year, I'd say that, but I know it's an increase.
it's an increase at both
Okay.
buildings.
so overall, first day of school, we're up, say 8, 10 or 12, or 10-ish?
10 to 15, I would say.
15-ish, that's
10 to
great,
15.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, absolutely. Last comment, tomorrow CISA 5 will be leading full-day CPI training here in our elementary library. CPI training comes from the Crisis Prevention Institute, and it teaches staff how to safely and effectively work with students who have become physical, to make sure that they are safe, make sure staff are safe, and to de-escalate the situation. We have staff, both support staff and teaching staff and administration from both buildings participating in that training tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, moving on. Questions and comments from people in attendance. Anyone else want to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Consider approval of minutes of the past meeting of July 10th.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of financial reports. Any gifts?
No, not
No
so.
gifts this month?
I just did share some thank yous, so
Yeah.
yeah, pass it
Got
on,
those.
yes.
Moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Leo,
Aye.
Carrie, aye. Dana,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Right. Financial reports are approved. No unfinished business tonight. New business, consider approval of handbooks.
Move approval of all 4 handbooks.
I will second.
And there's a second.
Just glad to see that cell phone business in there.
All right, there's a motion and a second to approve all 4 handbooks. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of cooperative agreements with the Nacusa School District.
Moved.
If I may, we have not been presented with those yet. We kept item 8 on the agenda in case they were delivered today. They were not delivered today. So I would ask that item 8 be tabled.
Table, move to table.
Second.
All right, so that item is tabled.
Oh, we don't have a second. We don't.
No, item in second, then tables. Automatic.
Yes,
Right.
Just a motion, just a motion, and
Yeah,
then
Carrie.
it's tabled.
that's tabled.
All right, next item then, consider approval of 2023-2024 seclusion and restraint report.
Welcome, Mrs. Waltenberg.
Oh, am I talking?
You don't have to. You certainly don't have to.
Okay, Lisa said that they just look at it. Okay, I was confused.
Mrs. Waltenberg is here to
Okay, I
answer
know what
any
I reported.
questions, if
I
there
know
are
what I
any.
reported.
If there are any questions.
Oh, there's no questions.
Was it in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we have.
Okay, good.
So,
I'm sorry.
move approval.
Perfect.
Second that.
And, motion and a second.
I don't know if there's any questions that we could get an answer to anyway.
You cannot,
Yes.
but I can report facts.
I have some discussion, however.
And it was a low number.
There was just that one,
Just
one
one,
elementary
So
episode.
that's
Yes.
Just one.
awesome,
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic.
right.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item is consideration of sick day payout.
As I mentioned in my agenda, in my memo, there was a proposal brought forward to compensate employees for a percentage of their unused sick days as somewhat of a deterrent to employees overutilizing sick days, as well as rewarding veteran employees who have been here for a number of years who have accumulated a number of sick days. There is an attachment provided, and there are some scenarios that I provided to the board. Those scenarios were discussed with our business manager, and those are some of the options. Just for example, the payouts per individual for a certain number of days, and then the total the total cost that it would be to the district. After speaking with Lisa, looking at the three scenarios, scenarios 2 and 3 are a bit high. This is a mandate that we do not have a line item in the budget for it. Currently, this would be coming directly out of Fund 10 if it were to be passed. So option 1 would be a more, to the budget, it would be a more palatable option.
And I think that's okay to start there, because this is gonna be new, and we can always, when we are thinking about it for another budget, up it. And I like the idea that they have to have had 6 years of teaching
5
here.
years.
5
Yes.
years, the 6th year, then they could get into this, because I think that's another thing to keep staff here.
Longevity.
Yes,
Yes.
because we know how hard it is to hire people, and we don't wanna have to keep doing it, and we want good people here, so
Right.
if we can do this, I think it would be great.
Definitely is a reward for longevity.
Right,
Yes, as
right.
well.
Comparing cost of this program and its various hypotheticals,
Mhm.
this much, that much, that much. To what degree over the past 2-3 years have we experienced people burning up their sick leave? In some cases, I'm guessing a lot of it,
I would say a small percentage of staff.
I would bet.
Yeah.
That burn it up.
Would the money that expenditure,
Offset.
I mean, are we,
Only if they don't continue to do it.
I mean, that's what I'm getting at.
I'm sure it will way outweigh that, if it would reduce that number. I mean, and obviously you can use take a look at the total number of sick days used year over year, and it's pretty easy to say, oh, we got 10 less this year versus last year, and so on and so
I
forth.
mean, I'm looking at this not just in dollars and cents term, but in terms of staff morale, in terms of rewarding loyalty
Yes.
and tenure.
And staff not having to cover for other staff
Right,
when they're
exactly.
absent, because I never had to do that when I was teaching, but I can see when you know you're gonna have planning time and then it gets taken away from you, that is a big deal.
It is.
And I can see how frustrating it would be when you were pretty much told that you had to help out. And when time is sometimes very much more important than money.
Yes.
You don't wanna miss your planning time. So I'm all about doing this, and if we can start out with the first scenario and then talk about it in the future for another year, when we can plan more in a budget or whatever, then so be it.
It certainly is, incentivizes people to stay, and it certainly is a reward to our veterans who should be rewarded.
Right,
I would
right.
agree with that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of the 40 odd, what's our professional staff level? 40-ish?
40, 42. Yeah.
Of those 40 people, how many would qualify for the 6 and over? Is it half?
It's probably half-ish.
75%.
75.
I'd say
Yeah.
75% would
Yeah.
qualify.
2/3,
Because we haven't had
75%? Okay.
that
We
many
have
new
We haven't had
teachers.
new teachers for,
No.
one here,
I
one
mean,
there.
the fact that we've had,
Nothing.
the fact that we had 6 new staff this year is kind of like, whoa,
Yeah,
Right.
It's been a while since.
And if you look at that, we had a retirement.
right?
2 of them were transfers internally.
Right.
One of them is bringing a 4K person aboard
Right,
who wasn't here. So I put an asterisk next to that 6. We don't have a lot of turnover.
Right,
It's just a unique year.
Mhm.
But I would say 75% of our staff
Okay.
roughly would qualify for this.
so 30 odd people might potentially take advantage of this.
Yes, may,
Some will, some won't.
correct.
It's a completely voluntary process.
Right.
And some may not have the option if they get very ill.
Right,
And may
and-
need to utilize their days.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want people to come when they're really sick,
Right,
but,
right.
yeah.
And in the grand scheme of the entire budget, it's a small amount,
Right.
yes.
It's
But
paid
I
out
would, I
automatically.
would agree with that first illustration, with the understanding that as salaries increase and as numbers increase, and if this proves to be effective, we line item it in next year's budget and potentially look at increasing the amount to make it, we're gonna have to continually tweak it to make it attractive, to encourage people
Correct,
not to fry their sick days.
correct.
So,
So I'll make a line item
In this
adjustment
year's
for this
budget,
year's
Mhm.
budget
For this
for
year.
that, for
right,
the,
that way we can track to see what kind of usage we have.
right, that's what I was gonna say, it would be nice, just let's see what one, this first year, how it
Right,
plays out.
Something that you look at the end of the year. They don't have to
Correct.
come to you and at the end,
no,
Well-
we'll
you
do
will
an-
just
we'll
look
do
at
an
it and
accounting
then you'll give
in
it to them.
June.
No, I
Or-
don't think so, because there's people that are not gonna wanna cash.
Right.
There's gonna be
Right.
money,
Oh,
and they
okay,
may
yeah.
not, and I'm guessing, cause we're
Well,
saying
it's up to them.
up to 5 days, might say, well, I'll only cash in 2
We'll develop a
Yeah.
process,
Okay.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
and we'll
'cause they'll
communicate
have
it
to-
out, we'll develop a process for it.
I mean, this is kind of like starting a health savings account. You know, you're trying to figure out how much money you're gonna put in it, how much are you gonna use, how much are you gonna end up losing if you don't use it.
Right,
You know, it's another benefit option that you play with. And after a few years of doing it, you get to the point where each individual staff member will have a clearer picture of what their situation is, and the district will have a clearer picture of how the mechanics of this are gonna flow through the business office.
correct, yeah, and we'll tweak it, we'll make it work.
I have 2 things, so I will make the line item for, what the maximum would be. You know, and that would include,
We'll
I
figure
gotta
it.
know that as well.
Yeah.
My question is just to confirm support staff.
Yes,
This
support
is-
staff.
This is not only,
This is a scenario presented for professional staff. Is the board wanting to look at something for support staff, or
Sure.
would you like to bring something back like me to bring back scenarios in September?
The only difference between the professional staff and the support staff is the amount of money involved.
Correct,
And that most of the support staff aren't going to be having the financial impact against the budget that this would. But the same problems exist if the idea here is not only to reward diligence and tenure, but to, in reality, save the district some money, because people don't burn their sick days, then one employee is no different than another. I mean, it's just a little bit lesser amount. I would have no
I-
problem whatsoever with including
Nor do
support
I.
staff in this.
Nor do I. I just wanna note that many of our support staff many of them don't get a sub. And that's a cost on the other end to the district, is our teachers, we do have to pay for a sub for them. There is no cost to the district when a support staff. That is just a detail. That being said, I completely support you, Leo. I think our support staff should get that as well.
I don't think if we're providing an option or a perk or whatever you wanna
Benefit.
call it, for one category of employee, I don't think we can, that drives wedges and causes difficulty.
Correct,
We should try to keep this as uniform as we possibly can.
yes.
Our staff is they're all important, they're all valuable, they all deserve the
100%.
same consideration.
I just wanted to note that there would be a different cost implication for that as well, including all categories of employees.
Steve has something to say.
Just a quick
This is,
question,
Okay.
food for
It's a
thought.
meeting of the board.
Oh.
Okay.
Can't-
You can't do
Okay.
this.
Okay.
That's a public,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, that would be a public comment.
Okay,
So we actually, we don't have to take any action right now, or do we wanna take an action
We
to,
We're gonna
to
move to
have you
adopt position one.
Yes.
put,
Yes.
Now, I'll move to adopt the
Yeah.
first scenario as posted in the memo.
I'll second.
Thought I did that, but okay.
Okay.
No, we had a
Then I'll
motion.
second
Did we
it.
have them,
I don't think so.
He can make the
Oh,
motion.
yeah.
Then I'll second it.
No, 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 it's fine.
You can
We'll review the
specify-
tape.
you can specify.
After further review.
You can, you know,
So there is a
be like
motion.
my
Whoever
family,
you're
just
right.
not hear what I say.
And there's a second. There is a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any other
Duncan,
discussion?
Mr. Thomas. correct.
Scenario one.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of co-curricular positions. And there's 3 of them, middle school volleyball, Deb Martin, JV2 volleyball, Chrissy Robinson, and JV volleyball, Angela Rogers.
Move to approve all 3.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, consider approval of contract with Lamers Bus Line for 2024-25 services.
I'd just like to note that the original percentage increase that was presented to the board by Lamers or to the district was significant.